Mic check, mic check. Make sure that my audio is on. Make sure that my audio. Okay, cool. So we kind of can get right into it. I hope everyone had an excellent. That's what you do. I hope everyone had an excellent weekend. It went by pretty fast, very relaxing and peaceful. Got a lot of things done. Let's see what happened over the weekend. I don't even remember. And I wish I could do some current events, but I've kind of been off social media. And if you can hear me, put a one in the chat. I appreciate you all for coming and checking me out. Today, we're going to talk about getting healthy to lose weight. Getting healthy to lose weight. I'm excited about this topic, and I'm excited about. Oh, let me turn this down. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm excited about this topic in particular because, man, a lot of you know that I had my second child, a boy, and then of course we had the pandemic. Um, lost my mother last year as well. So there was a lot of stressors and different things going on in the last year and a half. So let's say since March of 2020, all the way now here to August 9th. And so what a lot of people don't understand, or some people do, is that stress plays a major part in your health. And when I'm talking about stress, I'm talking not eustress, which is good stress, but I'm talking about mental stress, mental health, just an altogether negative, what we call life. When real life things happen, oftentimes people's health take um, oftentimes people's health are impacted because of it, negatively because of it. And I titled this get healthy to lose weight, because losing weight is normally just a byproduct of getting healthy. Okay, so most people tend to think that, okay, you're losing weight in order to get healthy, and that's not the case, because some people lose a lot of weight when they go through mental stress, right? But they're not necessarily healthy. Unfortunately, I'm not fortunately, unfortunately, I'm not one of those people. I tend to gain weight. I gain weight pretty easily. And now that I kind of understand myself more, I can take it off pretty easily. But it takes time. And it takes time to put the weight on. Let's be honest about it. Um sure, I can put on, a good 5 to 7 pounds over a weekend eating crazy things with a lot of carbs, etc. But oftentimes, a lot of those things, a lot of those things, excuse me, is water weight. It's just you're holding on to a lot of water, and then that's why you'll see some bodybuilders who can put on a lot of weight, over the week. Excuse me, or even boxers. Let's say boxers, because you see boxers, they'll make weight, and then that night they'll put on 7 to 10 pounds because they take away a lot of the water weight, and then that night to gain more strength back before the fight, they'll put on more pounds. So you'll see boxers coming into the ring weighing in at 155, and actually go back. They go into the ring weighing 163, 165, 166, because they're playing with that water weight. But to actually put on those actual pounds takes time. You know what I mean? It takes time. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I wanted to talk about, really, and I'm going to speak for myself, what happened, especially in the last year, because I was paying attention to it, like my overall experience of what happens when I have the weight on versus when I have the weight off. And for those of you who don't know, I had shot up to about 245 pounds. Like I said, a lot of that was water weight. So within the first week and a half, you see a lot of that coming off. I mean, I'm shedding. When I started eating a lot better, I went from 245 to 236, 235 quite easily. So that's that momentum going, because when you see 9 to 10 pounds coming off within a week, maybe a week and a half, like you start to get motivated. But then when you get that water weight off, that, like I said, when I went from 245 to 235, that's when the work starts happening. You know what I mean? And that's when you really have to get serious about what you're doing, because you can't fast it off. Well, you can, but most people aren't going to do the 36, 72-hour fast. I did, just because it was more about discipline than actually losing weight. Like I said, doing things that are healthy for you, the byproduct is losing weight. You also lose muscle too. So that's the push and pull of the whole entire thing. But yeah, let me get into my experience. Let's talk about some of the crazy things for me. What happens when I gain weight? Number one, when you tend to put on a lot of weight and you're eating a lot of different foods that you probably shouldn't be eating, a couple things happen. One is that your body tends to become very inflamed. So your body becomes inflamed, and that's when you start to get a lot of aches and pains. So I'm talking about, I had shoulder pains, I had knee pains, and I wasn't really doing like I wasn't moving a lot. I think I was running a little bit more, but I felt it. You know what I mean? I wake up in the morning and start walking down steps, if I when I was walking down steps or anything, and I felt like my feet would hurt, etc. Like, these are some of the byproducts of when you don't eat right, when you're not being healthy. So inflammation happens. I'm gonna tell you what else happens. A lot of hormonal things happen when your weight is not what it's supposed to be. So men, we tend well, we're supposed to have more testosterone, right? Testosterone. Women tend to have a little bit more estrogen, etc. So that's the balance between the man and the woman. And so when you're gaining this weight, you're eating things that you aren't supposed to eat. And let me tell you one thing about it first, and this is for the men, is that you need to protect your testosterone at all times. Everything is taken, especially I mean, from the water. If you're drinking tap water, it's been known to lower your testosterone, and definitely what you're eating. So watch what you're eating. Really pay attention to some of these the labels. Some people are saying eggs, and I think we'll find out about that need to be more specifically be looking at, grass, what is it, free range chickens. Eggs come from free range chickens, etc., and not what they're feeding these animal these, especially the meat side of it, but feeding these chickens, etc., because they tend to feed them a lot of things that mess with their hormones, or extra hormones, and the hormones tend to be estrogen, because what does estrogen do, or overabundance of estrogen do? An overabundance of estrogen will tend to add weight to people, right? A lot of women tend to have issues because of the estrogen part of it, like a lot of, and then they get into birth control. I really want to stick to my experiences, but a lot of women, a lot of the issues that you all are having is because of an overabundance of estrogen. And then, I mean, then this leads to your different cramps, etc., heavy bleeding during your menstrual cycle. All this, you putting on extra water weight, etc. And what happens? And I'm sure a lot of you women, if you watch this, you can attest to it. Is that what happens when? Give me a second. What happens when you go to the doctor, and which is a whole other ball game, is that they tend to prescribe you these different birth controls, etc., to help regulate your monthly cycle. And what that does is it gives you more estrogen. So now you're gaining more weight. And then that also leads to fibroids. And we have a huge issue with fibroids within the minority community with women, obviously with women, right? And I'm sure some of you have went through surgeries, etc., or just trying to figure it out. You need to check on your hormones, see what's going on with your estrogen, and see how you can metabolize it. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. Let me put that out there now. But I would say check into it. What I want to give you some information for you to check into. Open your minds and expand it, because a lot of the things that we were taught growing up, um, wasn't right. Wasn't right. One of the things I found out recently that was that was interesting to me was this water. You're supposed to have 8 to 10 cups of water, and there's no real research backing up that you need to have 8 to 10 cups of water. There's no research backing it up. What you need to do is be able to drink water when you are thirsty. So when you're thirsty, you drink water. What we tend to do, however, is we don't drink water. We drink a lot of sugary drinks, which further dehydrate us. And I'm talking about even fruit drinks. I'm talking about your orange juices. I'm talking about because you're not getting any fiber in it. Most of you don't, especially if you don't. Even if you have some of the pulp in there, it's not healthy for you. So you're drinking a bunch of sugar. You're getting, and even though it's fruit sugar, it's extra sugary. You're drinking your Cokes, your Diet Coke, whatever it is, and even some of these the what is it, the sugar substitutes, they tend to dehydrate you. So you should drink water. I'm not telling anyone not to drink water, but drink it when you're thirsty. And what you really need an abundance of is electrolytes. And that's why you get a lot. That's why you should look into some branch chain aminos. What I also think is great is lemon water. Squeeze some lemon into your water. Get those electrolytes. All right, now what I'm doing is a concoction of lemon, apple cider vinegar. And listen, there's a lot of people who love apple cider vinegar. There's a lot of people who don't like apple cider vinegar. I just do it. I think it has some trace minerals in there. I don't want to get too complex because I don't want to go over everybody's head. Drink water. Put some lemon in your water. How about that? Lemon in your water. Put some cucumbers in your water, etc. Stay away from the sugary drinks. So yeah, I tend to get hormonal. So what I noticed was, and you can kind of tell when your testosterone is going down, right? Because you tend you tend to become a little bit more emotional, irrational, etc. And and kind of, and I don't know how to put it, but I want to say a little less aggressive. Like I my when I know I'm healthy when I'm just the right kind. I know how to use my aggression. So there's a certain kind of aggression that I have, and so I noticed that when I was not healthy, within these past 12 to 8 months. I want to see if anybody's saying anything because I can't see you on this screen. Next, I wanted to talk about the 5K. I'm not talking about the 5K. So yeah, so I got into it. So I needed to check my mood because I tend when I tend to not be healthy, my mood tends to be terrible. Like I want to argue about everything, and not like, and there's a difference between like being aggressive when I'm talking about being aggressive, the aggression that I'm talking about, and like arguing for no reason. Like I'm chippy, like I'm agitated. You know what I mean? Like I remember calling someone, about something about politics, and when I did it, and I said, you know what, Mike, you're tripping. You're tripping. It all has to do with my testosterone being low, me not being healthy, right? And here's the, I'm gonna tell, and I want to go on. I want to go on to it because here's one of the things that happened is that when I gained a lot of the weight, was that no one was telling me. I guess a couple people did. A couple people did come out and say, "Mike, hey, your shirt is getting kind of smaller." You know what I mean? Like you're in sweatpants all the time, etc. And I should have known myself, but listening, and I didn't know it had gotten as bad as what it was. Even though I had to go out and get another pair of jeans, I was going to an event, and I had my jeans. No, actually, I'm gonna tell you what, it was a belt. There was a belt. I was going out. I think I had an appointment or I had a meeting, and I went to go put my slacks on. The slacks were fine, somewhat fine. They were snug, but they were wearable. And then I had to put a belt on, and it didn't fit. So right before this meeting, I had to go I had to go to the store and go get another belt. And I said, you know what? I need to check this, right? So what ended up happening was I went out and I got this scale. I got a withering scale. So it checks your weight, your body fat percentage, your BMI. It gives you all these different readouts, and it attaches to your phone. Okay. And I think that's when I stepped on it and figured out I was like 245. The whole time in my mind, I'm telling myself that I'm 215, right? So check your mood, check your attitude, check your belts. Listen, people, we know when our clothes start to get snug, we have to do something about it, right? Like we really have to start to do something. And I'm gonna get into a little bit more of that. Of course, your energy. Your energy is low, low, low. So what did that translate for me? That's translated for me like having to take naps. Like I had to take a nap at 10 to 1 o'clock here. And I want to get into I want to talk about this energy thing, and definitely having to take a nap after you ate. And if you ate terribly, you it was a wrap. Don't even drive. And so what's going on there is your insulin, because this is essentially a lot of people, the most simple way to break down fat loss, or when you're talking about fat loss, etc., which is some of the worst ways to think about it, is through caloric expenditure, which is you're getting into a deficit versus the intake that you have. So the easiest way to explain it to most people is saying, like, listen, you need to have less calories than you need to consume less you need to burn more calories than you consume. Every 3,500 calories is a pound. It counts as a pound. So this means that if you are eating in excess of 500 calories more, if you're consuming 500 calories more than you get taken away, that you're burning, that within 7 days you will gain a pound. 500 calories. What are 500 calories? That's like, and I haven't had this in years, but a McDonald's fries, that's 500 calories. I'm trying to figure out what's not 500 calories, right? Two cookies, two cookies from like Subway or something. That's easily over 500 calories. So anytime when you're having more calories than you're taking in, that is less. But then it's the type of calorie that you have as well, because most of these calories they're like empty, right? But the actual truth about it is, and I don't want to go into it, there's a guy on YouTube. His name is Dr. Berg. I really hope that all you all can check him out, Dr. Berg on YouTube, because he expels a lot of these different myths and he talks about it in somewhat layman's terms, but it's really your insulin response. Your insulin response is huge, and that's why these diets like the keto diet, etc., works. Now, first off, a lot of diets, or hopefully they're just nutritional adjustments, like they become lifestyles. But a lot of these diets work just simply because of, and this is like one of my first tips, is that you log in everything that you're eating for the day. The moment you start logging in what you're eating, you're automatically, most people, not most people are going to automatically lose weight, because now you're aware of exactly where you're at, right? So when we're talking about your caloric expenditure or burning, or your caloric intake, with your intake, you're going to start saying, oh wow, this, some of these things are so surprising, like this is 600 calories, especially when you go out to eat. Forget about it. This this bread at Cheesecake Factory is going to cost 600-700 calories if I eat the entire bread. You know what I mean? But what you're going to hear from Dr. Berg, and what's the real truth behind these type of calories, is the insulin response. So your insulin response, and what happens is that our insulin response is terrible. So we're automatically shooting up with a lot of these different things with like bread, a lot of high carb meals, the bread, so some even sweet potato, like a lot of things have these high insulin responses. And what it is, it shoots our insulin all the way up. And then when the insulin drops, that's when you crash, that's when you go to sleep. But it's up there. And what happens is, over time, we start to become insulin resistant. So once you become insulin resistant, like this, almost the same amount of time that it took you to become insulin resistant is going to be darn near half of that to get you out of it. So most of us, like I'm 38. So I guess I started eating a lot better maybe 10 years ago. So when I was 28, yeah, around there, Thurlow, shouts out to Officer Thurlow. So for maybe 23 to 25 years, like I was becoming more and more insulin resistant, because I was eating nothing but sugary stuff, like I didn't know how to eat. And that's the huge issue. Like, we just don't know how to eat, and because we don't know what we're eating and how it affects us. Like, it's not bad to have some of these things every now and then, but we have these things every day, and we're not having the right things every day. So over time, we start to become more and more insulin resistant. And then that means that your body is just surviving off of the sugars that we're putting into it, as opposed to the fat that we have. And hopefully I'm breaking this down in some very simple terms. So you can do a lot of different things to become insulin. You can do a lot of different things, these different diets, but it's just going to go right back because you're not doing it over a long period of time. Like, so if you've been insulin resistant, if you, let's say 40, say you're 40 years old and you've been eating crazy for 36, 37 years, you're after you're a toddler, like then you start eating all these hamburgers and McDonald's, whatever. So for 37 years, you have become more and more insulin resistant. So now you're attempting to make this change, and you're looking at a lot of these different fad diets saying, okay, well, cool. I want to, I'm going to lose X amount of weight. And you will, like I said, the moment you start losing weight, a lot of these things, because you're inflamed, which means your body's retaining water, etc., that you're going to drop, 10, 15, 20 pounds. That's why you have all these diets that say, listen, I guarantee you can drop 10 pounds in a month. It's easy. But then what happens is after those 10 pounds, 10 pounds, that's when the real work starts, because now you have to start healing yourself from becoming insulin resistant. And then you also then we got to talk about your liver, because you've been damaging your liver this entire time. So look, and if you have a chance, look up fatty liver. So, which a lot of us have. You have a lot of weight around that belly fat that's hard to get rid of. A lot that tends to be that fatty liver, and the liver can be healed. It's one of the things that can be healed, but it takes 3 years for it to be healed. So you'll drop that weight immediately, that 10 pounds, and then you get stagnant and it's flat. And you can work out as hard as you can. And this is what happens to most of us. We start to working out a lot more, a lot harder. And for those of us that aren't disciplined and have not necessarily made it a lifestyle, we tend to get discouraged and we give up. Right? If you follow me, say you follow me. I hope you're following me, even in the replay, if you're following me. So we tend to give up, and that's when we go back to the regular thing, because we never made. That's why you hear you need to make your diets lifestyles. It has to be a lifestyle, because you need about a good 2, 3, 4, 5 years in order to heal your liver, to stop being insulin resistance. Excuse me, to attempt to reverse that insulin resistance that you have, and then change your body's set point. Like, so this weight loss that I'm having now is because I was eating so good for the most part for the last 10 years. Had my breaks here and there, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, over the last 10 years, I have been somewhat healing my liver, and I did a bunch of damage to it in the last year when it was just like, whatever. We have to get past that point. Like I said, we're going to see those 10 years, but it takes time, which is what a lot of us don't want to understand. So you can quit these fad diets. I don't care if you're fasting for a million days or whatever the case may be. Eventually, well, there's the magic bullet. Let's talk about the magic bullet, if there ever was one. Fasting is the magic bullet. Fasting takes a lot of discipline to do it right. And then when I'm talking about fasting, I mean you are not triggering an insulin response. So everything that you're eating has to be, or not eating, excuse me, you're fasting. What you have to have is like water. You can have coffee. You can have apple cider vinegar, green tea. That's it. I mean, there's not many things, because you're gonna get lost in the sauce of it. But if you can do water, apple cider vinegar, green tea, etc., for 3 to 5 days, and you can do that, and here's what happens is that your response, the more that you do it, the faster that you'll get to the certain responses. So you'll heal yourself a lot faster. So if there is a magical bullet, if there is one, it will be fasting. Okay. Like, and I'm not talking about the 24-hour fast, although if you can fast 24 hours, that's great. I think the magical fast is that 72-hour fast. If you can go 3 days. I think the longest I've ever done was a 5-day fast, and that was not fun. But the 3 day fast tend to be a little bit like, if you do a 3 day fast every month or every couple months, every other month, etc., I think that for me personally, that would definitely speed it up. But it's not, because you're just used to, we have these habits of eating. I think I can do, and you can do a fast a lot easier once you start to get healthier. So let's say you do your 30 days, because most of us can go 30 to 45 days. Well, hopefully. Yeah, I have a lot of faith in you guys. Most of the people who are watching this can do 30 to 45 days of eating healthy. When I'm saying eating healthy, I mean no sugar, low carbs, pretty much a keto slash paleo diet, some decent amount of protein, and please check with your doctor, because some of us can't have a lot of high protein, shouldn't be doing a lot of high protein eating. So check with your doctors before any of this stuff, even definitely before fasting. Check with your doctor, get your checkups, right? But when I say eating clean, for me, it's going to be high protein. It's going to be, I can even do high fat. Like I can do butter. I can do anything that has a decent amount of fat. Salmon, like it has to have a lot of fat in it. Some fatty red meats, etc. Be careful with red meats. That's why you do the ACV to help with your gut health. But doing the high, but high fat, my diet just has to be a lot of low carb, low sugar, almost no sugar, right? Like less than 30 grams of sugar for the day, which is, when you look at a lot of these different, like start looking at these nutritional packages, like when I look at them, like, okay, I can't have that. A lot of these different protein drinks, protein bars, etc., I can't have it. It has too much sugar in it. I try to keep my lower than 30 grams of sugar a day, and then lower than 70 carbs a day. And when you're looking at carbs, you got to subtract for the fiber as well. So look at that. Look at the net carbs, and then watch for the hidden sugars, because sometimes they don't count alcohol, what is it, sugar alcohols or whatever, which is a lot of these different things. They don't count them, but I have to watch for them. So less than 30 grams of sugar. And here's something else for me. For 2 weeks I couldn't do fruit as well, because I just did not process it. I didn't even do fruit. So now I'm doing fruit. I'm doing some blueberries, I'm doing strawberries, no bananas. And I like bananas, but no bananas, because bananas for me at this time is just not worth it, because although it's high in potassium, they say it's high in potassium, but compared to the carbs and the calories, like, because you're supposed to, here's a crazy stat. We're supposed to have like 7,000 milligrams of potassium a day, right? And so oh yeah, bananas have potassium, but bananas have like 300 or 400 milligrams of potassium, which is nothing. Kale, you got to go to like the greens, the cruciferous greens, like the kale. Avocado has a decent amount, and the thing that's great about avocado has high fat. So avocado is really good for me, which I haven't had in a while. So I'm looking forward to it. My tree has grown some, so I'll have it. So that no sugar, no carbs for me. I can have some high fat, not I'm not just eating fat, but things that have a lot of fat into it, because what that does is the fat helps to keep you satiated, keeps me fuller. And so I can go longer without meals, because I also do, which I'll get into now, is this intermittent fasting. I haven't really had breakfast in maybe 6-7 years. I haven't eaten breakfast in 6 to 7 years, because I fast. I work out fasted. I go to the gym. I do a good 2 to 3 hours right now in this, while I'm cutting and whatever this cutting phase. I lunge for at least 12 minutes on Saturdays and Sundays. I lunge for 30 something minutes. That's my cardio. I may start doing some sprints, but right now I'm doing everything but CrossFit. That's what I'm yelling. Everything but CrossFit. And I squat every day. And I'm squatting 225, at least every day. I at least front squat 225. I back squat 315, regularly every day. Every day I squat. I don't squat on Saturdays and Sundays. So Monday through Friday I'm squatting. But I'm doing all of these things fasted. My workouts, I'm burning, according to the Apple Watch, I'm burning about 1,500 calories a day from my workouts. And then immediately after I leave the gym, I'm going to a place called Hot Works, which is a sauna slash you can do cycling and all these other different Pilates. But I tend to do cycling for 30 minutes and a sauna with the heat at least 130, 135 degrees, working out. I haven't eaten anything all day. So this breakfast is the most important meal. It might be, but not for me. I skip breakfast. Some people tend to do oats instead of oatmeal. So, what? I don't eat breakfast in the morning. I'll have, and we'll get into that. But just so my intermittent fasting schedule, it's I either do 16 and 8, and now I'm gonna ramp it up to 18 and 6. So for 18 hours, I'm not eating, and then for 6 hours, I do eat. And I don't really eat that much, so I'm close to what they call OMAD, which is one meal a day. I'm close to it. I'm not quite there because I have to have a protein shake at night. I'm doing my protein shake at night. I don't care what nobody's telling me. I love it. It's like ice cream to me. It's not ice cream. I put some coconut milk in there. I put some strawberries in there. My protein shake, which is like 1 gram of carb, no sugar, and I do a mixture of it. And maybe I'll put that. I'll start to put a little bit more information. If you want it, just let me know, and I'll put that information into the comments or something. Or I'll make a whole new post about it. Right. So that's what I'm doing with my intermittent fasting schedule. So what I do in the morning is I get up first thing in the morning. The first thing I'm going to have my water with lemon. That's what I have in the morning. Hot water, warm water with lemon in it. Drink that, wait 30 minutes, take my vitamins. What am I taking? Some things that detox my liver, like milk thistle, etc. Cranberry, the cranberry extract is what I have in the morning. Everything is no calories in any of this stuff. And then I have I'll take branched chain aminos. Now, here with the branched chain aminos, some people are saying that does interrupt your fasting. There's no calories in it. It is like 5. But they're saying the lysine is not really being able to may spike your insulin. So I'm gonna pay attention to that. Maybe I won't have it. I do take it to the gym. That's what I've been doing for 6 years. So, or what when I'm working and getting in shape. So for 6 years, that's what I'm doing. So that's what I have in the morning. I have my first meal at about 3 o'clock when I'm doing 18 hours. When I'm doing 16 hours, I'll have it at 1. And getting to 1 is pretty easy because you get so busy in the morning. By the time I finish my workout, by the time I do some work, it's already 1 o'clock. So now I'm stretching out to 3 o'clock for that 18 and 6 fast. Any questions, you all feel free. I'm here to help. And also, if you all want, let me see if I can do this for you guys. Want to put this into if you all want to check in, there it is. If you have any questions, I'll definitely. I should have put it in at the beginning. If you have any questions, if you want to say something, we can definitely speak about what it is that I'm doing. So that's my intermittent fasting schedule. So what I normally eat. What I had to stop eating was cashews. Cashews have one of the high, and I love them too. I got a whole Costco thing of cashews that I just bought, but I'm not eating them. I'll probably have like a handful of maybe 1 or 2 handfuls on the weekend or something. I don't know. I'm just not having them now. It's terrible for you. What you want to have is like walnuts and pecans or whatnot. And I'm doing walnuts. Why am I doing walnuts? Because I really don't like walnuts during that time. But it's good. It has a low insulin response. So it's just something to snack on, and I won't over snack. I do celery and hummus. Hummus is not necessarily it's somewhat not like people talk a lot about chickpea, which is not good, but I enjoy it. And everything that I'm doing, I'm still losing about 1 to 2 pounds, more like 2 pounds a week. And I just here here's a real quick tip. There is a nutritional place, and I don't get anything back from this, but there's a nutrition. It's called NutriShop in Palm Beach Gardens. Let me put it in here. Yeah, well, Jackie, that's why I do it, because I go to the fridge and see the walnuts. I'm just like, I don't want it. If I went and saw the cashews though, I'm going. I'll make a trip. I'm telling you how bad the cashews got for me was that um I have to put them in the car when I'm home. NutriShop. Oh, did I put it? I put them in the car when I'm home, just because if I eat them, I got to go outside to the car to go get it because I know me. But I put this NutriShop in Palm Beach Gardens. It's in the chat for you all to go check out. There's a guy there, and he's Peter. His name is Peter, and he's a nutritionist. This is Let me tell you something, guys. I'm putting you all on game. Don't spend the money on nutritionists. Go see Peter. He's going to put you on his machine. He told me the machine costs like 10, 12,000. It probably does. And what the machine does is it does a full body composition analysis. I mean, it is I mean, you put your hands on it, you step on it, take your shoes off and your socks off, all electronic equipment, put it to the side, and it's going to give you a readout. He's going to give you a readout, and it's going to tell you basically how you're carrying your weight, where you're carrying your weight, how much muscle you have, how much fat you have, like everything. It's a whole sheet. I wish I had it, but it's a whole sheet, and you can do it every month. Now he's gonna try to sell you his supplements, which I think they're pretty good. Some like his protein shakes, off the chain. If you're vegan, has the vegan joints. He has the regular chocolate. His chocolate protein shakes are really good. So I get a lot. I get a bunch of supplements from them. He's a little bit more pricier than Vitamin Shop, but the information he's going to give you is worth it. The information he's going to give you in regards to your eating and what you should eat and what you need to be doing is going to be worth it 10 times if you were to buy. And you don't have to buy the supplements. I think you go in there and he'll give you like free samples of um the protein shake. He'll make it for you right there, etc. NutriShop in Palm Beach Gardens is off PGA, next to the Turnpike in that LA Fitness Plaza. Godsend. Go see Peter at NutriShop. Tell him Mike sent you, because it's definitely worth it. Let me see, Miss Jack. Miss Jack, I did the. I'm also to avoid catch because of my blood type. Yeah, I don't know if that was on mine because I'm blood type B. Miss Jackie also uh put me on the blood type diet. The diet that I do now is everything. I'm doing everything except for CrossFit to get to where I want to get to, including reducing stress. But that's something else. But the blood type diet was interesting, which basically told me I shouldn't be eating chicken. I can have turkey, which didn't necessarily do anything, but I needed to stick to like mutton. I can have salmon. Beef was really like in the middle, so it didn't really do anything. But chicken was negative, and so I haven't really been eating chicken a lot, just based on that blood type diet, which is interesting. Listen, I think we have to start getting it, and I know I gave you Peter because he's an excellent resource to go learn from, and to go into his shop to understand, to get, and to just, I think getting the printout alone is worth just going into the shop. Like once again, he's not going to force you. He's one of the nicest guys ever. He's not going to force you to buy anything. Of course, you're there, so I would ask you to patronize his um his store, but just go. I think it behooves you to go there and to listen to what he has to say, and a lot of stuff that he's going to talk about. A lot of those things are already there, and they're great to have, to add to your arsenal. Like I said, whether it's the protein shake, which has less than, which has almost no sugar, maybe two grams of sugar, etc., and it tastes delicious. Um, and then a couple other different things. But Go to NutriShop, get your, because it behooves you. It will behoove you all just to get in there. Let's talk about what we have going on here in America. What we have going on here in America is, what is it, like a 70 to 80% obesity. People are who are obese, and it's, oh well, it's my body type. Listen, people. You all aren't athletes like that, man. You all aren't getting it in the gym like that. Go let's really start to get about our health. And like I said, a lot of these things, in my experience, just in the last, me paying attention and being aware of my moves, etc., in the last year, and not being healthy. And I can only imagine that this happened, this because what happens is when you're not healthy, you start to feel like that's just the way it's supposed to be. Like this depression that you have, a lot of the different, um I wish I could see some of these. I don't know. I only see Miss Jackie. Miss Jackie, how come I can see your stuff? Oh, that's Carmen. I see Carmen here. Also, liquor intake chase. I see it now. That's crazy. Yeah, cashews are the bomb. Okay, I see Ronald, and Ronald is a fitness trainer. Listen, it behooves a lot of us to actually, um it behooves a lot of us to actually go see trainers, man. Call Ron, good trainers too, because there's a difference. There's a difference. Like, so a lot of us who weren't prior athletes, and sometimes even when you are prior, sometimes you just need that extra push, especially if you get into a funk, like to actually hire people to help you out. So Ronald's talking about cashews are the bomb. Almonds, pecans, walnuts are all better for your insulin response. Cashews and peanuts aren't as bad as cashews, but peanuts, a lot of us are somewhat allergic to peanuts. Some of us. So you got to be careful with that, and not to the point where you know, a huge allergic response, but just allergic. When I say allergic, you peanuts, um, they create inflammation in you. So what happens when you get inflamed is that your body retains water. So, so it behooves you also to figure out what it is that your body responds well to. And one of these things with what I do is I take away everything. Like, I take away everything. So I go from a straight water fast to start to reintroduce all these different things into my, because also we can say as you get older, you start to become more sensitive to certain things. That's why a lot of people tend to become gluten sensitive as they get older. A lot of people can't process red meat as they get older because of our stomach acids. So so you need to strip everything away, and you probably need to do this regularly, maybe every 5 years, which is not regularly, but every 5 years, every 3 to 5 years. I'm gonna say 5 years. Just take everything away and then just start slowly adding things, just to see how your body reacts to it. And then and this entire time be checking your weight, because if you know, one day you just added one thing and then the next day you gain 3-4 pounds, you can go back and look and say, whoa, I added peanuts. Peanuts never used to do this to me, but they are doing it now. I need to pay attention to it. Right. So you need to check it out. And I'm writing this down. And what's going on, Ann? And I'm looking at everybody. Now I can see the the comments. Yeah, gonna get the metformin. I don't know about the metformin, because see, here's what goes on with those blockers, right? And I don't know if you're telling the joke, Ty, but I'm checking it, at least 4 years of healing, and maybe if you're see, I'm so skeptical about doctors, because a lot of doctors don't know what they're talking about, and I figured this out when I was when my mother was going through her cancer thing. I'm listening to some of the stuff they say, and they just, you know, they're practicing medicine, and they get caught up with some of the dogma of the medicine, and you know, you really got to be careful. Here's one thing: please check your doctors, and the best question, like, why am I here with this doctor in particular? who referred me to this doctor, and is this other person a picture of health? Is your doctor a picture of health? When you or how about, because you should be the biggest proponent or advocate for yourself. So when the doctors are telling you these things, you need to go and research it. I'll never forget Mr. Pender, who used to come to the center back in the day, and his doctor was telling him that he needed to have heart surgery. So he did the heart surgery the first time, and then the second time something happened, and they said it was okay. I think they ended up putting a stent in there, etc. They told him he needed to have another one. This is like 5 to 7 years later. He said no. He went out and he did the research, and he just started eating a lot differently. And he went from not being, he said he went from not being able to walk up his steps to being able to swim swim in the ocean. But the doctor wanted to refer him to surgery. So you need to be the biggest advocate for yourself. And if every time that you propose something to your doctor, he's not gonna, and he doesn't do the research on it, or he kind of just pushes it to the side, you might need to get another doctor, because you and your doctor need, once again, the doctor is the authority figure, but you still need to ask the questions about it, because he's coming from a general standpoint and what he learned in school, whereas you individually need to figure out what's best for you. Like what I'm telling you works for me, and I'm still trying everything. I'm still doing things just to see what works best for me. So 1000%, you need to check your doctors. There's nothing wrong with that. And if your doctor does not want, because oftentimes these doctors have this like I said, they come from this authority point of view, and that's fine. You went to school for 10, 15 years and you got $200,000-$300,000 in loans. So I can see how you feel that way. I'm going to also do some research on myself, for myself. Right. And to be honest with you, we are not in the healthcare business. The doctors are in the disease care business. Yeah, Jackie. True. The physician needs to be in the partnership. They have to be, or else doctors are in the disease care business. They're not in the healthcare business. They're in the disease care. They're caring for your diseases. They're caring for your symptoms. A lot of these things can be figured out because of your stress levels and because of what it is that you're putting into your body. And we need to pay more attention, because we want to live a long and healthy life. Quality of life is paramount. Length of life is paramount, but definitely your quality. You want to have the highest quality of life. And once again, I'm not telling people not to indulge in a lot of these things. You need to figure out why you're indulging in some of these things, because I think it goes far more beyond that. It just tastes good. Because what Peter said at NutriShop one time told me, he said, listen, he's like, the first 2 slices of pizza on my cheat day are like great. He's like, but the third and fourth are terrible, but I'm still eating it because it's a habit, right? The first time you bite into something, like, oh man, this is, oh my God, this is heaven. Maybe the second bite. Okay, maybe I can have a whole cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory. Not a whole cheesecake, but a slice. But I shouldn't have 2 slices, and I shouldn't have it every week, right? So we definitely got to pay attention to that. And I'm going through these comments. Kenyatta said, mine is no carb, no sugar when I go hard. No carb, no sugar. Listen, I'm telling you that no carb, no sugar, because sugar makes you crave sugar. Carbs make you crave carbs. Point blank, period. That's it. We need to figure out why exactly what we're doing. I see Ann said, what about prunes? What about prunes? Are you asking me if they're good for you? I can tell you, if they're dry, they're probably not good enough. And prune juice is probably, is going to get you. I have to look at the fiber on it. I don't want to speak on it because I don't really drink prune juice. But because if you're drinking prune juice, I'm assuming that it's probably to pass or have a bowel movement. But you should be getting some fiber in your diet anyway. So cruciferous vegetables, if you can take that. Some people can't. Some people, cruciferous vegetables causes them to bloat. But then there's other different. We need to find the actual reason as to why we're doing what we're doing. But if you're talking about prunes as a fruit, I don't think I don't know. So I'm gonna be honest with you, because I don't do the prunes. Truth. I'm working with a fitness trainer myself because I know what I don't know about bodybuilding. Listen, this is Ron talking. He's a fitness trainer. It's almost like every shrink needs a shrink. Every psychiatrist counselor needs a counselor. Fitness trainer needs fitness trainers. Real estate. I'm in real estate. I get help from real estate guys. I have real estate mentors and coaches that I pay for. I pay for coaches in real estate because I don't know what I don't know and I want to get better. I want to be more efficient at it. Okay, I think that's it. Like I said, if anybody has any questions, etc., I don't even know where some of these comments are coming in from. If you have questions, comments, please put them in there. I'll try to answer them as much as I can. I did want to leave you guys with a couple, just to finish off with a couple of tips. One is to track what you eat. Once you get to and what happens is you don't have to do this in perpetuity forever. You know, because most of us aren't getting contest ready. You know what I mean? Like getting below 10% body fat. Here's another thing is that less than 1% of the population can show their abs. And now I'm thinking of that Michael Jordan meme, and that what he said, that motivated me or something like that, and I took that personal. So I'm gonna have abs in the next couple of months. So that's number one. Be aware of exactly what you're eating. Less about your weight and more about your health. It's about getting healthy. It's not about weight. And here's something interesting is that you can, like, I can be 245. Matter of fact, I went out with one of my loan officers. Shouts out to Charles. I went out with one of my loan officers a couple of weeks ago. This guy is 245, which I was 245. He is 6'1" though, so he got a couple. He's a little bit taller than I am. Not that much. But this guy is built like I mean, he's built. So it's less about him weighing the 245 and more about his body fat percentage, which I was going to get into as well, because this is what is going to happen when you go to NutriShop, is that it's going to tell you, it told me how much fat I'm burning versus how much muscle I'm burning, because when you're in a cut like I am, when you're coming down, you and still working out, you want to preserve as much muscle and lose the body fat. So what happened was, I'm currently in the perfect ratio. I'm burning 80% fat, 80% of each pound, 80% of it is fat, 20% of it is muscle. So like I'm not PRing like I would like, because I haven't reached that maintenance where I can start going up, but 80%, which is almost the perfect ratio. I'm losing 80% body. I'm losing 80% of each pound that I lose. 80% of it is fat, perfect. 20% is muscle. And so the number that I pay attention to is, and it's not even a BMI. I'm not really a fan of BMI. We do need to watch it. Like, we can't just negate it because it's there as a standard. But I tend to watch the body fat percentage more. And so I want to get to that 10. I want to sit between that 10 and 12%. I think when I was in decent shape, I was sitting between 13 and 15%. So now I'm going to get it to about 10 and 12%. I did it this morning. I was 16.7%. So I got 6% to go. Well, 4 to 6% to go before I'm where I would like to be. So although I do have this goal weight in mind, I might not necessarily be there. I might, be at 195 to 200 or something like that. If I can get it to 10 to 12%, I'm fine. I'll stop there. So pay a lot of attention to that to that body fat percentage. You want to pay attention to that. You also want to go get your blood checked, etc., and you want to go see what's going on with your insulin. What's going on with your insulin? And if you're overweight and you're carrying a lot of belly fat, you want to know how much insulin resistant you are. That's number one. And two, you want to check your liver. You want to see what's going on with your liver, because you more than likely you have fatty liver. And then of course your hormones. Check those things out. Like I said, women tend to have more estrogen, etc. But as men and women, we need to protect our testosterone at all costs, because a lot of these things are pushing us over. So that's why I said, for the women, please check it. Do not just let them put you on birth control. That's going to make your estrogens go sky high. Like I said, that has been people see extra higher cases of fibroids, which is huge. I think it's like 70-80% of women within the minorities have fibroids, and we don't know, and they don't know why. They just know they have to go get surgery, or they're having issues with fertility, excuse me. So it tends to be, but we need to check what's going on with our home. Why is our estrogen so high, and why is it turning into that? So we need to figure out better ways of controlling that. There's a product called DIM. Ask about it. Go check it out, which helps to metabolize estrogen for women. So please, like Jacqueline said, and I don't know where, because I don't see you on this one, which is interesting. So I'm learning this. So we're doing it as we fly. Please check with your doctors to figure out what's going on, and this is go through the blood work, see where your estrogen level is, and then figure out how you can help to metabolize that estrogen in your body. Fellas, protect your testosterone at all costs. It's a war going on outside for your testosterone. and this is why a lot of us tend, not a lot of us, some of us tend to be a little bit more emotional, etc., because we're high in estrogen, low in testosterone. It's okay to have that masculine aggression, healthy aggression. How about that? That's what we're gonna call it. We'll call it healthy aggression. Cool. Ty, I appreciate it, man. Listen, I know a lot about a lot. I want to I'm tooting my own horn. I know a lot about a lot. Next week, we are going to be talking about parenting. We're going to be talking about parenting and the dynamic roles of the males and the females, the mothers and the fathers in parenting. So I'm excited about that. I want you all to check in 9:00 next week. These kids are going back to school. Let's send a quick prayer up to them. Lord, let's pray for all these kids that are going back to school. Pray for the teachers. Pray for the school district. In these uncertain times that we are in, we pray protection over everybody, Father. We just the parents too, who are probably nervous sending their kids off to school. Everyone, I pray that all these kids have a great school year. They're in their right minds. I pray that that we get over this little hump that we're having. Pray that you keep the parents in these kids' lives. And that's it, man. In Jesus' name, praise God. Listen, see you all next week. Love you guys. Any questions, comment, share, please subscribe if you're on the YouTube one. Thanks.